Members of ISRE Visakhapatnam chapter, members of ISRE Deccan chapter, GSHP, AP chambers, the speaker Mr. Mubarak Khan, special guest Mr. Bayasklan, and other officers of Streamer Electric AG. With several fire accidents happening throughout the country, and in most of the cases, the root cause is identified as electrical fire. In this context, it is felt that a technical webinar be organized as to how we can identify the risk in the incipient stage and suppress it, thereby minimizing the loss of property and human life. Messrs. Streamer, who are pioneers in the field, have come forward to explain on the product which they manufacture. And I now introduce Mr. Mubarak Khan, the country head of Streamer Electric AG India, who has the expertise in electrical safety, conditioning monitoring, and testing solutions. With his background of the Merchant Navy and a rich experience in sales, marketing, and business development, and having traveled 35 countries worldwide, has good experience dealing with diverse nationalities. Yeah, before he takes over, I request Mr. Prasad Revuru, the president of ISRE Deccan chapter, to address the gathering.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madhu Garu, for inviting us to be part of this wonderful session. And this is one of the most important sessions that we have been waiting for. And because any accident should be avoided first, and particularly the fire accidents, because after that we are left with nothing. And in that context, many of the things that could have been easily solved, we see that, just because of some carelessness or some casual attitude, we lose so many lives and also a lot of property is damaged. So and we have seen recently in the Sri Salem Dam also one major fire that happened that costed us so many lives. So I thank Mr. Mubarak Khan for coming forward to take this session, and we are eagerly waiting for this particular session on fire and how do we save lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I now invite Mr. Ashok Garlapati, Vice Chairman of GSHP, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Madhu Garu, for inviting me for today. And on behalf of the GSHP, which is the Global Society of HSE Professionals, and our Chairman, Mr. Deep Patel, and President Kamal Soi, I welcome you all and thank you for making GSHP as a partner. In fact, our mission also the same as ISRE and other organizations to prevent the fires as well as protect the mankind. And today's topic is very important, as Mr. Prasad said, that so many electrical fires are happening. I would like to congratulate you for organizing this particular topic. And in addition, we do have a similar accidents happening here. Today, I'm speaking to you from Kuwait. We have many rig camps. So many electrical fires happens, but when we investigate, we found that loose connections are the one of them. Overloading and loose connections. And I am also a global OSHA trainer. One of the modules I teach is on electrical safety. And I have shown special interest. I took my calendar for attending this particular webinar. And I would like to thank Mr. Mubarak Khan, also extend Ramadan Mubarak to him. And looking forward for the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Now, Mr. Mubarak Khan, I request you to take over and start the session.
Thank you, Madhu sir. Thank you very much. It is really a pleasure presenting in front of the esteemed audiences because I have a very technically sound and expert audiences in front of me. So it's making me a little bit nervous that if I make some mistakes, you'll definitely catch me on the spot, but never mind. I'll try to do it in the best way what I know, and wherever you find mistake, you please correct me. This is a platform to learn from you guys. Okay. I have with me Mr. Base to help me out in case I miss out somewhere. And Mr. Timir Doshi and other team members of Home Technical Solutions have also joined. So we'll be together, we'll try to communicate and discuss the topic. So now I'll share my screen and without any further delay, we'll start the session. So once again, hello and welcome to online presentation on FirePress, fire prevention and overheating monitoring system for electrical panels. Today's topic of today's discussion is how to prevent electrical fires and failures caused by loose connections in electrical panels. Okay. Madhu sir has already given my introduction. So let us introduce my company. The company name is Streamer Electric AG. It is a Swiss company based out in Chur, Switzerland. It was founded in 1996, having cooperation with 5 universities and R&D offices, having 6 offices and 77 distributors in 26 countries. We have around 180 employees of 9 nationalities in 6 different countries. In 2012, the headquarters was moved to Switzerland. In this particular slide, all the places where you can see the green marks are the places where we have our installations, and the pointers which are shown in the screen are the places where we have our offices, factories or regional offices. Okay. This screen is definitely updated. We are coming up with more installations across the world. So the number of installations and the country's reach is increasing day by day. The main products of Streamer Electric are, first is the line lightning protection system for overhead lines based on patented Easy Quench technology. Okay, this is a product which is used for lines up to 66 or 69 kV. And if you install these lightning arresters on each pole, then there will not be any trips or shutdowns because of lightning. Or I can say in another words that the probability of the tripping and shutdown of the line because of lightning will go down to maybe 5, 10, 15%. Okay, it will go down to a very significant level. Second product is Transect online moisture management, moisture monitoring and drying system. By doing continuous monitoring and continuous drying of the transformer oil, you can enhance the transformer life and ensure maximum safety. The third product is FirePress. We are going to discuss that product in more detail today, so I'm not going to touch upon that. The fourth one is surge counters. So we have a very advanced wireless enabled surge counters which count the number of lightning strikes coming on a structure. We can use it on down conductors of the lightning arresters, or you can use it along with the LLPDs. We can use it along with the EGLAs. We can use it along with the ESC lightning arresters or the MOV surge arresters, and it will continuously count the number of strikes coming on that line, and it will transmit all the data through Wi-Fi. Okay. So let us come to the topic of today's discussion. What is loose connection and what are its effects? Overview: around 25% of building fires are due to electrical malfunctions. This is the data according to European Fire Academy. Around 32% of fires in Germany are related with electricity. This data is according to German Insurance Association. Around $3.2 billion of annual damage is happening in US and Europe alone because of electrical fires. This data is according to the National Fire Protection Association and European Fire Safety Alliance. These were the international figures. If we talk about the Indian scenario, around 56% of industrial disasters in India are because of electrical faults. The electrical faults can be of various types, like it can be overload, short circuit, earth faults, arc flash, or overheating of joints or cables, right? Now, we have devices, protection systems available for monitoring or tripping the system when there is a short circuit. We have a system to trip our circuit and protect it from overloads, earth faults, etc. But we don't have a system to predict whether there is a overheating because of loose connection, or we don't have a system to predict the possibility of an arc flash inside a panel. And that is where what we are focusing on with this product and solution. Okay. Moreover, little bit more about this slide. Under normal scenario, everything is okay. System is running normal. But if there is an overload, the whole line is subject to a little bit overheating. But which point will get overheated first and faster? That point is the point of a loose connection. If the connections are not proper, in case of overload, the loosely connected point will hit first and later on other areas will hit, right? So that is why in case of overloads also loose connection are the places where we experience the failures. Arc faults, normally arc faults are occurring because of rodents, because of some moisture coming inside the environment, some equipment failure, right? These are the accidental reasons for occurrence of an arc flash. What is the electrical reason for occurrence of the arc flash? If you guess it or if you know it, it is a loose connection. How it happens? In case of a loose connection, the joint may get heated so much that the conductor or the bus bar may melt, leading to an arc flash. Okay, so majority of the electrical incidents have somewhere a small link with the loose connections. Now, what is a loose connection? Loose connection is the common term which is being used by majority of the people in the industry. But how the way I would like to present it better is a improper connection or insufficient connection. Okay, so loose connection can be because of poor mechanical connection. A poor connection, mechanical connection means connections are not actually physically, they are not tight. It is not tightened properly. Or dirt or other contaminations are coming between the contact surfaces. Or it can be because of oxidation at the connection. Under the influence of oxygen, air, nitrogen, ozone and other chemicals on the contact surfaces, the contacts may get oxidized. Oxidation increases the overheating, which can cause further damages. As you know, the resistance of the copper oxide is much higher than the copper itself. That is why there is a localized overheating in this scenario. Let us take an example of a sequence of events which are happening under the scenario of loose connection. So if there is a loose connection, there will be an overheating. When there is an overheating, it will cause oxidation at the connection. Oxidation will cause further increase in resistance. This increase in resistance will cause more overheating. Overheating will cause more oxidation, and this cycle will keep on repeating multiple times. This scenario is known as thermal runaway fire hazard in electrical panels or the electrical joints. Okay, this can cause the busbar or the cable to heat up to such an extent that your PVC insulation may start to burn, or if it heats further, it may cause the aluminum or the copper busbars conductors to melt. Let us take an example in a simple, very simple and breakdown manner, how a loose connection can convert into heat. Okay. In this particular example, we have taken an example of a 240 volt power supply supplying to a 12 ohm heating element through a circuit breaker and a terminal block. Under normal conditions, the contact resistance at the circuit breaker contact is 0. The contact resistance at the terminal block is 0. So we have only one resistance that is there in the loop, and that is the resistance of the heating element, which is 12 ohms. So if we apply that Ohm's law, then around 4,800 watts of energy, which is the total energy coming out of the power supply unit, will be dissipated on the heating element, right? Now, if there is an abnormality in the circuit and there is a loose connection at the terminal block, and for simplicity, we have assumed that the magnitude of the loose connection in terms of resistance is around 12 ohms. Okay. Under that scenario, what will happen is, when the 240 volt power supply will try to feed the circuit, there will be two resistances coming in picture. There will be two resistances coming in picture. One resistance is because of the terminal block, and the second resistance will be because of the heating element. Okay. Now, I think people more than 100 are not able to join. Okay, never mind, I'll continue. Okay. So under this scenario, if you apply the Ohm's law, there will be a 10 amperes of current flowing through the circuit, which will cause a 120 volt voltage drop the heating element, as well as 120 volt of voltage drop across the terminal block, which will cause a energy of 1200 watt being dissipated on the heater as well as the terminal block. The heater is designed to withstand large amount of energy, so nothing will happen to the heater, but the terminal block will not be able to withstand that much amount of energy, so that energy will convert into heat and it will burn the terminal block. Okay? So what we understand from this one is that the natural indicator of the faulty wiring is its heat. So if connections are not tight, the joints will get heated. So what we do is we are trying to monitor the heat to identify the loose connections. Okay, standard fire scenario. So in this particular example, we have taken how a loose connection can convert into a fire. And for simplicity and for explaining it in a better way, we have taken a scenario where connection is not very loose, but rather it is insufficiently tightened. Under this scenario, what will happen is when the joint is under normal conditions, the joint will not be having any abnormality and it will run normally. So the temperature of the joint under normal condition will be between 25 to 70 degrees Celsius, depending on the ambient temperature. Okay. When there is a small abnormality, maybe in case of full load or overload, the temperature of the joint will increase. It will go to a certain point. Let us assume it reached 80 degrees Celsius because of the overload. Okay. When the load clears, the joint temperature will come down again. But when it comes down, it will not come down to the original point, but rather to a little bit higher value. Okay. And it will remain there. After that, maybe in another overload scenario, again the temperature of the joint will increase. When the load clears, the temperature will come down again to a higher value. This cycle will repeat multiple times. Okay, and at one point of time, the contacts will get degraded so much so that the temperature of the joint will start to increase rapidly. Okay, when the temperature of the joint starts to increase, it will cross 80, 100, 130. It will reach to around 200 to 50 degrees Celsius, where the polymeric insulation will start to melt. Okay. At that time, after some time, there will be smoke. At further temperatures, there will be ignition and sustained combustion. And in this particular scenario, if there is a fire alarm system already installed inside the panel or in the control room, that fire alarm will get activated. When the fire catches, at that time, the fire alarm will get activated. If there is no action taken at this point also, the temperature of the joint may increase further, and at around 600 degrees Celsius, if it is an aluminum conductor or bus bar, this aluminum will melt. At around 1100, 1200 degrees Celsius, copper bus bar or conductor will melt. Okay, this melting of the conductor will cause an arc flash, which will damage anything or everything which comes in the close vicinity. So this is a scenario how a small loose connection can escalate to a fire or an arc flash scenario. Our focus is to monitor and detect the abnormality within the abnormal zone. Now, what is the abnormal zone? So as I explained before, the normal zone is between 25 to 70 degrees Celsius. And any abnormality or the discoloration of the PVC insulation, it starts after 180 degrees Celsius. So we can say that between 80 to 180 degrees Celsius, it is an abnormal zone. To be on the safe side, we take the lower 50% of the band. So it is between 80 to 130 degrees Celsius, right? So if we are able to detect the abnormality between 80 to 130 degrees Celsius, then we'll be able to save any fire or failure scenario by getting information well in advance. Okay. Now, between 80 to 130 degrees Celsius, as per the international standards, normally ambient temperature plus 50 degrees Celsius is allowed. Ambient temperature plus 50 degrees Celsius is allowed. In India, in summer season, mostly the ambient temperature reaches 45 to 100 degrees Celsius. Right. So if we take that condition, 100 degrees Celsius becomes the most optimum temperature to detect the abnormality. Okay. And that is what we are going to try to do with the solutions we propose. Now let us come to the topic of today's discussion, how to prevent electrical fires and failures caused by loose connections in electrical panels. There are various methodologies which can be implemented. One is do it physically, tighten all the connections with the torque spanner. Normally, many of the people do, most of them don't do. Even if you do or you don't do, because of vibration and environmental condition, this tightening or the proper installation practice may fail also, and it can cause failures. Now, second method is using a periodic monitoring using thermography. And one more method is there to use effective condition monitoring and condition-based maintenance system. Okay, we will see each one of it one by one. And I'm not going to touch upon the tightening with the torque spanner. It is quite simple. We need to tighten it with the torque spanner. We are going to focus on the condition monitoring and condition-based maintenance. Okay, there are 3 ways or maybe more, but I'll touch upon 3 ways in which you can do the condition monitoring of the electrical joints. Okay, and I have given hearts to each method depending on how much I like it. You can give the hearts depending on how much you like it. Maybe like 1 like, 2 like, 3 likes, depending on your interest. Okay. So the most I like is 24/7 monitoring with 24/7 alert. It is done through online overheating monitoring system, which can monitor overheating of all electrical joints and gives an alert or control when the joints overheat. Okay. Then second, which is a little bit lower than the first one, is 24/7 monitoring and periodic alert. Means monitoring of the electrical joints using thermolabels. Overheating will be monitored continuously, but the maintenance personnel will get alert only when they physically inspect the thermolabels. Okay. And third one, through which people normally try to achieve the condition monitoring, but we don't get it actually, and that is through the thermography. Monitoring of electrical joints using thermal imaging, the overheating will be inspected only at the time of inspection. For this method, I have given only half part. Means if somebody wants to ask me to accept it, I will accept it only half-heartedly. Okay. So let us start with the first one, which I like most: 24/7 monitoring and 24/7 alert. Fire press, 24/7 monitoring and 24/7 alert. Okay. What the system consists of? System consists of 3 main components. One is RFPT, Remote Fire Prevention Thermolabel. Then we have Fire Prevention Alarm, FPA. Then we have Fire Prevention Concentrator, FPC. We will discuss each component one by one. First, let us see how they are installed inside a panel. Okay. So in this particular image, we have taken an example of an electrical cabinet. Okay, this is a vacuum circuit breaker, and then we have electrical joints, as you can see here. These are all the electrical joints. These are circuit breaker jaw connections. These are circuit breaker jaw connections. These are and this is CT connection. Then there is a cable termination. So we will install the RFPTs at all the cable terminations and the jaw connections. Okay, we will install RFPTs at all the cable connections and the jaw connections here like this. And we will install the FPA in the same cabinet.
You are muted, Mr. Mubarak.
You have to unmute yourself, Mubarak. Yeah, I think no.
Sir, your mic is on mute.
Okay, thank you. Actually, because this particular mobile phone is not on, it is not the host. So whenever you are meeting everyone, it's getting muted. I'm also getting muted. So organizers, please do something about it. Okay.
Okay.
Now I think you're able to hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'll repeat this slide again. So RFPTs will be installed at each joint inside the electrical cabinet in this fashion. and FPA will be installed in the same cabinet. This is how it is going to be installed. Okay. So let us talk about the RFPD. RFPDs are installed on the contact connection points on electrical wires or some parts of electrical equipment which are potentially prone to overheating. When heated to activation temperature, a signal gas is emitted from the RFPD and is detected by the fire prevention alarm. Okay. This RFPD is having batch number, then it is having 3 temperature indications, as you can see on the screen: 100 degrees Celsius, and we have 50, 70, 90. Okay. The 100 degrees Celsius is the activation temperature. This is the temperature at which the sticker will get activated. And then we have 3 pre-indication dots at 50, 70, and 90. When this sticker will be installed on the joints as explained in the previous slide, when the temperature of the joint it reaches 50 degrees Celsius, the 50 degree dot will change its color from white to black. When the temperature of the joint it reaches 70 degrees Celsius, the 70 degree dot will change its color from white to black irreversibly. When the temperature of the joint reaches 90 degrees Celsius, then the 90 degree dot will change its color from white to black irreversibly. When the temperature of the joint reaches 100 degrees Celsius, at that time this sticker will release a signal gas. This sticker will release a signal gas which will fill the compartment with a gas concentration of 980 ppm. Okay. This sticker will release a gas which will fill this compartment. Now FPA will be installed in the same compartment. It will sense the presence of the gas and give a remote alert. This is the function. Okay. The signal gas is stored inside the sticker in the form of microcapsules. Okay. And this signal gas releases at a particular temperature, means at 100 degrees Celsius, only all the gas will be released directly with the allowable error. Okay. Now these stickers are coming in various sizes and temperatures. We have small stickers for smaller cabinets and smaller conductor cross section. We have bigger stickers for bigger cabinets with bigger conductor cross section. Okay. We can have these stickers depending on various size of the cabinet as well as the size of the conductor. Again, there are selection of stickers based on the required temperature range. You can have stickers of 80 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Celsius or 130 degrees Celsius depending on the application. As explained before also, that for Indian scenario in the electrical application, 100 degrees Celsius is the most optimum temperature to get an alarm. Okay. Now this is how the stickers will look like when they are installed inside the actual panel. For the small LVDBs, when you mount it on the cables, the stickers will be pasted like this. For bus bars, Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I couldn't understand what you said. I couldn't understand what you said.
Please go ahead. Please
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
We'll take the questions in the last. We'll take the questions in the last.
I don't know why I am getting. Okay, I'll mute it now. Okay, hello.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I think now it's okay. Actually,
Yes.
I was hearing my own voice from the. So in the bus bars, the stickers will be installed like this in the circuit breaker panels, in the bus bars, etc. Okay, and in the circuit breaker jaw connections, the stickers will look like this. Normally, it is recommended to wrap the stickers around the joint just to make sure that the sticker don't fall down because of the loss of adhesiveness. Otherwise, it will effectively work when installed in any way possible. Okay. but normally it is recommended to wrap it around the joints. Around the joints means around near the joints. Now, the signal gas which is there inside the sticker is non-toxic, non-hazardous, environment-friendly gas. Okay, we have the MSDS for the gas. If you want, we can share it with you. It is not causing any damage or effect on your existing electric panel. Coming to the second component, which is FPA, fire prevention alarm. Okay. As explained, FPA will be installed in the same compartment in which the RFPDs are installed, and then it will detect the threshold concentration of the signal gas. Okay. Whenever it detects the gas, it will give a alarm via RS-485 communication. Secondly, it will give a discrete potential-free output which can be used for local annunciation. It is having its own LED indicator which will flicker or which will become red steady in case of alarm. Okay. The RS-485 which is coming out of the FPA can be connected to your existing SCADA system, or it can be connected to a remote monitoring device, FPC. FPAs are available in various sizes. FPA 24 by 0.1 for electrical switchgear with a volume of 0.1 meter cube. FPA 24 by 1 for switchgears up to 1 meter cube volume. FPA 24 4S, which is used for electrical switchgears for more than 1 meter cube volume or multiple cabinets. So in this screen, we are able to see the image of FPA 24 4S with 4 external sensors. Okay. It can be used for very large switchgears, for switchgear having volume between 1 meter cube to 3 meter cube. In this scenario, we will install one sensor at different locations inside the switchgear, and it will be able to detect any signal gas which may arise inside the panel because of operation of the RFPD. Or this FPA 24 4S can be used to monitor multiple cabinets. So normally if we have more than one cabinet in an electrical switchgear, you can install the sensors in each cabinet, and FPA can be mounted at one common location. Okay, any combination you can use it. Normally for Indian scenario, normally for my customers, I prefer to propose FPA 24 4S only because it becomes economically much more cheaper for the customer. Okay, to use FPA 24 4S. FPA detects content of the gas in a protected volume. The gas concentration when only one RFPD is triggered is around 980 ppm. The trigger threshold of FPA is 250 ppm. That means that even if more than 50% or 70% of the gas is escaped from the panel because of holes, openings, or the door is open inside the panel, then also FPA will be able to detect the gas. So there is very low, very lightest probability that because of the openings inside the panel, the gas may lose and it will cause the misoperation. It is not possible because we are using 300% redundancy of the gas. Secondly, if for some reason, maybe somebody did not attend the alarm, or for whatever reason the gas escaped and the alarm is still there and the fire occurs, in that scenario, like fire occurs maybe in those places where RFPDs are not installed. So if the fire occurs, it will generate CO2. The FPA sensor can also detect high concentration of the CO2. Okay, then also it will give an alarm. So this is the additional advantage we get with the presence of the sensors. Okay. Then FPA does not require any external calibration. It calibrates itself every few hours. Coming to the third component, FPC. FPC normally takes data from all the FPAs. It displays the status of each channel. It is having LED indicator as well as buzzer sound. So if there is an alarm, this LED light and buzzer is coming, which you can check, mute and reset the alarm. Then you can check the alarm history up to 1024 events inside the FPA. Okay, and there are two models of FPC, FPC 220S and FPC 220S GSM. So FPC 220S can view all the data and communicate the data to remote PC through IC 61850 output. FPC 220S GSM can additionally give an SMS to the duty staff. Okay. Just to visualize in a more broader manner, all the switch gears will be connected together through RS-485 communication. All this data will be transmitted to the FPC. FPC will communicate it to the control system, as well as it can give a local annunciation or control. It can communicate to SCADA, or it can send an SMS to the duty staff. Up to 32 FPAs can be connected to one FPC. Okay, so this is the overall system configuration. I'll do one small revision. Remote fire prevention thermal levels, RFPTs, will be installed on each joint. When the temperature of the joint reaches 50 degrees Celsius, the 50 degree pre-indication dot will change its color from white to black. Similarly, 70 and 90 will also change at the respective temperatures. At 100 degrees Celsius, the signal gas will be released from the RFPT. It will be detected by the FPA, which is installed in the same cabinet. FPA will communicate the information to FPC, which will display the data, given annunciation, and communicate it to the remote system. There is a lighter version of this fire press where we can use the RS-485 directly in your existing control system, and you can eliminate the requirement of the FPC also if you have that facility within yours. Okay, just a electrical layout, how it will look like inside the electrical panel. So I have taken an example of a circuit breaker panel where we have one input and two output and one busbar cabinet, one incomer, two outgoing, and one busbar cabinet. So we have 3 compartments of 1 meter cube each. Sensors will be installed in one sensor in each compartment. RFPTs will be installed at each joint, and all these 4 sensors will be connected to the FPA. Many such FPAs will be connected together through RS-485 communication, and this RS-485 will be communicated to FPC. This is how the overall electrical configuration will look like in the actual scenario. Okay, now some photographs just for you to visualize how it will look like actually inside a panel. Okay, in a small 440 volt 220 volt distribution board, the stickers will be installed on the cable joints, and the FPA will be installed in the same compartment. This device which you can see here, this is the FPA. Okay, in a MCC PCC type of panel where we have different compartments, so sensors will be installed in each compartment. RFPTs will be installed on each joint, and it will be communicated to remote PC through FPA. Now you can see here on the bus bars, these sensors are installed like this. Here you can see in the multi-run cable, we have installed the RFPTs at the bus bar itself, so it can detect multiple joints hitting. This is an external sensor which is there installed here. Here in this particular image, we can see external sensor and the FPA 24S being installed. Okay. In a circuit breaker panel, normally we have incomer compartment, which is a cable compartment. Then we have circuit breaker compartment. We have a bus bar compartment. So we can install the stickers at the cable terminations, circuit breaker jaw connections, as well as the bus bar joints. We can have one sensor in cable compartment, one sensor in breaker compartment, and one sensor in bus bar compartment. Okay. And then all these sensors can be connected to FPA, and FPA can be connected to FPC. Okay. Now coming to the second method of monitoring, which is VFPT, 24/7 monitoring and periodic alert. The VFPTs allows to check the quality of installation works by visual inspection. Normally what we need to do is we need to wrap these stickers around the electrical joints. Okay. These are the only stickers worldwide available which can use on an electrical joint, wrapped it properly in a 360-degree manner. Okay. So it can be wrapped around the electrical joint, and whenever the temperature of the joint reaches the set point of the sticker, the color of the sticker will change from white to black. So initially there will be white stripes on yellow, then it will convert to black stripes on yellow. Okay. This gives you 24/7 monitoring, but alert you will only get when you go and inspect it physically. The stickers are available in 70 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Celsius, and 110 degrees Celsius in various sizes, small, medium, and large. Okay. Now preventive detection, let us see our motive is achieved or not. by using a remote fire prevention system or visual fire prevention system, we are able to detect the abnormality in the range of 80 to 130 degrees Celsius. And that is why we are able to eliminate any fire scenario which may occur in future, right? So the motive, the purpose of our using this such kind of system is achieved by using this fireplace. Okay, initially when the temperature increases of a particular joint and it reaches the set point of the sticker, you get an alert, you do the repairs and make the system normal, and then it will remain normal, right? Let us compare. So normally the technology which we are using for monitoring the electrical joints is thermal imaging. So let us compare with thermal imaging, and we'll do a detailed comparison later also. Thermal imaging works only at the time of inspection, doesn't allow to check the equipment in locked enclosures. The load at the time of inspection should be at least 60% to see the weak points, and it highly depends on the human factor. Firepress, whether remote or visual, it works round the clock. It allows to check the equipment in the high voltage panels, checks all the spots at the same time, does not depend on human factor. Let us do a more detailed comparison based on the functionality we achieve by using various technologies. Okay, so we have 3 technologies which we have together to use this. You can use any based on your convenience, but you should know the positives and negatives of each one. Okay, so does these technologies monitor the overheating? VFPT, yes, it monitors. Firepress, yes, it monitors the overheating. Thermography, yes, it monitors the overheating. Thermography also monitors the overheating. Even if you go in touch with your finger, you'll be able to monitor the overheating, right? You will get a shock, that is a secondary, but definitely you'll get it, you'll know it is hot. Now, apart from jokes, online 24/7 monitoring, are we achieving in any of these technologies? So with VFPT, yes, we are getting online 24/7 monitoring. With Firepress, yes, we are getting online 24/7 monitoring. With thermography, no, we are not getting any online monitoring. It is only periodic. Okay. Are we getting 24/7 alert? In VFPT, no, we are not getting 24/7 alert. In Firepress, yes, we are getting 24/7 alert. Thermography, no. Now, possibility of monitoring sealed enclosed enclosures. The like high voltage panel, explosion proof panel, are we able to monitor it? So thermography, we cannot monitor the locked and explosion proof high voltage panels with thermography, but with VFPT and Firepress, we can monitor. Okay. Similarly for explosion proof enclosures, also we cannot monitor with thermography. We can monitor with VFPT and Firepress. But can we get an alert? Can we get an alert in a 24/7 alert in case of such kind of explosion proof or sealed environment? We cannot get it using VFPT, but we can get using the remote Firepress. Okay. Can we connect to the SCADA? Only Firepress can be connected to SCADA or centralized monitoring, nothing else. Safe monitoring in MV and HV panels can be achieved only with VFPT or Firepress, but not with thermography. So with Firepress, we are getting additional functionality that we are getting remote alarm 24/7. Otherwise, 24/7 monitoring is already done in VFPT also. Now, comparison possibility of errors and risks. Possibility of human error during monitoring. In VFPT and Firepress, it's not possible. In thermography, yes, it is possible. Possibility of arc flash accident during monitoring. In thermography, yes, it is possible because you are doing monitoring in live panels. But in case of VFPT and Firepress, it is not possible. Possibility of missing out overheating occurring during the normal operation. In VFPT and Firepress, not possible. In thermography, yes, it is possible. Now, this is important. Possibility of damage occurring because of information is passed to maintenance personnel about abnormality. Means the information is not reached the maintenance personnel in time. In that case, there can be damages in presence of VFPT and thermography, but in Firepress, it gives a timely alert. Possibility of missing out detecting potential overheating in loose connection in overload conditions. Thermography not possible because thermography you will do under normal load condition periodically at some time. But because Firepress and VFPT are installed 24/7, it will monitor the joints in all the scenarios, even in the overload scenarios also. Okay. Recently, there are so many fires in the hospitals, and mostly the fires are due to improper maintenance. A lot of different effects are there, but there is one common problem, and that is overloads. So many equipments are plugged into the electrical circuit. The joints and the cables are getting overheated, and nobody is there to detect it. Right? Such scenario may be avoided up to some extent by using FirePress. Possibility of missing out timely alert in case of potential overheating in loose connections in overload condition. Not possible. Yes, it is possible in VFPD, but not possible in FirePress. Definitely, it is possible in thermography. So if you only see the red and green marks, FirePress is having all. VFPD is having some green, some red, but thermography is having all red. Okay. Just to conclude, hazards of loose connection involve electrical fires, failures, and arc flash. Hazards of loose connection are real risks and needs to be addressed very carefully. Loose connections can be monitored by monitoring the temperature of the joints. Among all available temperature monitoring techniques, FirePress is most reliable in best and is best suited for the application. FirePress works earlier than any existing fire detection system. FirePress is easy to install even in retrofitting application. FirePress gives timely alert to maintenance personnel. Unlike any other commonly used monitoring system, FirePress can be easily connected to SCADA or any other remote monitoring systems. Streamer Electric AG provides design, installation, training, and after-sales service support for FirePress with the help of its channel partners. The local sales and service support in India is through our national distributors, which are Ohm Technical Solutions based out at Mumbai. They have expertise in national marketing and sales of technologically advanced niche condition monitoring products and services. They are running an extensive customer awareness drive across the nation for FirePress. They maintain pre-sales technical support team at various locations in India to provide customer support to the customers locally. Maintain after-sales service support, system integration services to customers and dealers across the nation. Maintain stock of FirePress in Mumbai to service the customers in a timely manner. They are also looking for regional and key account-based dealers, channel partners, and licensing agents who can join our team and help us in reaching out to the customers in a more effective and faster manner. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, you can ask. But before that, I would like to invite Mr. Faiz Khalan to share his experience about the international market of FirePress. Faiz, please.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Please introduce yourself and pose your question.
No, super. I'm Vice. Thanks, Mubarak, for the presentation. It was pretty nice. Huh?
Cannot hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Just.
We can hear you.
Super. Yeah, Mubarak, thanks for nice presentation. And from my side, I would like to add that we're really excited for Indian market to penetrate with this new solution. We're also getting much more interesting in some Middle East countries, let's say in the Gulf region like UAE, Kuwait, Israel, and also we are quite active in Southeast Asia region, which is Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and we're going to Australia now and to Latin America. The solution gets like nice feedback from the market, and we're pretty sure that for India it will be like a bright future for this product. If you have any technical question, I guess me and Mubarak can help you to point out all of them. So please welcome.
Mr. Sandeep, you have raised your hands. Do you have any question?
Yes. Good evening, Mubarak. This is Sandeep Shroff here. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Sir, a small portion is remaining from my side.
Okay, please.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
Timir Doshi, Director of Home Technical Solutions, is also available right now with us and would like to share a little bit about the Indian market with us. Unmute. Timir sir, unmute.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you, Mubarak. It was a nice presentation. Base, thank you very much for your valuable inputs. And thank you all the participants for your valuable time. I think the time what you have invested is really very helpful for your electrical safety. And it's a really great advantage what we can get from such technology. So it can be a great help to you. We have started selling these concepts in India, and when we started, I think Mubarak, we had worked a lot, and now the acceptance of this technology is many customers, and also the consultants are approving it. We have various references available. For example, at Tata Power in power and energy field, we have installations. We have installation in refinery like BPCL and Reliance, Indian Oil. We have installation with the steel plant like SAIL, Tata Steel, they are planning, and JSW are planning cement plants. We have already installations at JK Cement, for example. Then many other industries are looking at using this technology. So it's really a very useful, and also most important is a price effective, cost effective solutions with respect to the solutions available in the market. We also serve at Home Technical Solutions different technologies which is used for electrical safety and health monitoring, like transformer online dissolved gas analyzers from Qualitrol, some online solutions. Then we also provide electrical safety related transformer oil, ester oil from M&I Materials UK. You might have heard of Midel 7131. And of course, for transformers from Streamer, we have online drying solutions, that is Transit. So any new technology we try to bring to India, which is really a great help to the country for providing maintaining your costly assets. So and our motto is always to provide smart, intelligent solutions which can affect your which can give valuable inputs related to safety and monitoring of your system. So thank you very all once again. This is what the inputs from my end. Thank you, Mubarak. Good day to all.
thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, Madhu sir, with your permission, can we go for a question answer now?
Yeah, go ahead. I think we had one.
Mr. Sandeep.
Yeah.
Sandeep.
Very good afternoon, Mubarak, and thank you for a very informative presentation. Mubarak, basically this sensors, the tags which are there you mentioned about, they are seems to be very interesting concept. I would like to understand what is the practical life of this sensor, because as I understand from you, that it releases some kind of gases. So basically, I assume that this tag would have some kind of a life which would be involved. So can you please throw some light on that part of the thing, and then I'll ask the other question.
Okay. So the sensors and the sticker have a shelf life of 10 years.
So you mean to say that, I mean, the gases could be released if there are multiple instances of fire or heating or something happening, then this can keep on repeating?
So the sticker needs to be replaced every time it operates. The gas sensor can be used multiple times for the period of 10 years.
Okay. So basically that is the point. So it is like one time kind of a use kind of a thing. The tag, if it is once it is used, it has to be replaced.
The stickers, yes, the thermal labels needs to be replaced once it is used.
Okay. Okay. And the other thing what you mentioned also is that apart from that specific gas, your FP, I think FPT what you mentioned was
FPA.
FPA. Yeah, you mentioned was basically also can also detect the CO2 gas also.
High concentrations of CO2, yes, sir.
Yes, high concentration of CO2 and or
Yes.
CO, which is
CO2,
the
carbon dioxide.
Acha. Okay, it is carbon dioxide. It is there. Okay. So that is another, that there is a second point of safety which is going to be there. And the what I understand from the third question that I wanted to understand is the FPAs can be connected to the centralized systems either through a Modbus mechanism. So by Modbus, what do you mean to say is Modbus RTU protocol or Modbus TCP? What is the protocol that is supported?
It's Modbus RTU, but I would like to invite this Base to explain more about this.
Yeah. The FPA can be connected to SCADA directly, and the protocol we use is Modbus RS 485.
Okay. So it is RTU only, not ASCII. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So basically, I mean, it has its so basically because of the protocol limitation, a maximum of 32 could be connected over one single drop or a daisy chain scenario.
Yes, right.
Okay. So basically, in the centralized, the third device that you mentioned is the concentrator. Okay, so how many basically serial ports does the concentrator have, so that I mean we can take that many number of FPA multi-drop FPA channels into it?
32.
No, 32 is only for one specific daisy chain. Can it have multiple serials also, multiple serial ports possible, or it is having only one serial port?
There is only one serial port, sir.
Okay. Fine.
So if we have something like that, then we'll have to use the external converters. We can do that.
Okay.
But when we design the system, we will design it accordingly. No? We'll not.
No. I just wanted to understand because I mean the diagram showed multiple drops of connectivity as in your this, and which got me little interest because then you said a limitation of 32, and that's the reason I asked you all questions to understand what is the protocol, what is the kind of drop scenario, other thing that you have been talking. So now this becomes clear to me. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Any more questions?
If I have one more question to ask you, Mubarak. Mubarak, this is what you mentioned about a case study for the high temperatures into MCC panels. But can this kind of thing be extended to say motor windings or coils or such kind of scenarios? Can such a solution be possible?
Sir, now it is a temperature monitoring solution which can work in almost all the applications in the coil. But the thing is that the beauty of the system lies in the fact that this can be directly connected to the live terminals. So if you don't have anything which is live, then you can do it with normal.
No, I didn't get you what live terminals means basically. So what I'm just trying to understand is that, see, at the motor input connection point, I may have a termination, I can do that. But suppose if there is an inside the windings, motor windings which are there inside, under that scenario, if suppose this across the coils which are there in the motor, against that, if these tags are wounded, and from there, is there a mechanism to have kind of a motor monitoring, motor temperature monitoring system built up? Or
Sir,
is any such use case
Streamer doesn't have.
taken care of?
Yes, yes. Streamer doesn't have. I think Mr. Timir Doshi can help you with other manufactured
Yeah,
solutions
Mubarak,
for finding
yeah,
temperature.
Mubarakji, I was just about to tell, we have a solution for that, Sandeep ji. I think Mr. Sandeep was there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I am there.
Yeah. So we are already providing such solutions with transformer manufacturers
Okay.
for
But-
providing the hotspot on the transformer winding. So
So
same
can
thing
this be fitted onto motors which are, I mean, so not OEM specified ones, but if there are already motors without such kind of solution, can this be fitted into them?
maybe we might have to bring it to the workshop in that case. I will
Yeah.
check up and you can send us a mail. We will confirm, sir.
Okay, fine, no problem.
I think you must be talking about large size motors, more
Yeah,
than 1
generally,
megawatt.
no, generally, I mean, like I'm talking about a brownfield kind of scenarios. Maybe the newer systems, mostly the Siemens and ABB newer motors, generally have those kind of temperature sensors inputs available inbuilt into it. But
Okay.
if there are older setups, and if suppose there is not a possibility of having that sensors in them, can we additionally put as a
Okay.
condition-based monitoring solution? Can we retrofit those motors with this kind of sensors?
Okay, we will have to check up again. We'll come back to that.
Okay,
Okay,
no problem.
and you can share the type of motor will be of great help to
No,
us.
this is a very basic question
General
I'm
question.
asking.
Okay.
So basically, from this, if understanding if there is a possibility, because if I come across any such kind of problem statement in condition-based monitoring, then we can get in touch. So that's the reason I'm asking you this question.
Yeah. Thank you. It is a nice question, sir. We can definitely help in that, and would like to have some more information, but we can do it.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good evening, sir. Would you please enable the chart? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Rao.
Yeah, please. Yeah. My question is like, what would be the pricing range for this RFPTs and VFPTs? Approximate. I don't want exact this thing. Is it useful for domestic applications also, like households?
Sir, this solution is definitely suitable for domestic applications also. Pricing, actually, I would prefer not to discuss it because it is a technical forum. So I like to keep it in the technical way. Later on, we can just send a small mail. So I'll send you the price list and we can discuss the application and make a small budget. How it would be in the different type of scenarios.
No, the thing is, but when we wanted to convince my customers to propose them, at least we should have some idea. For the idea, for that sake, if you can disclose, okay. Otherwise, no issue.
Sir, unless I understand or study the type of panel which we are talking about, we cannot really say how much it will be.
Okay, thank you. No issue, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Chaudhary.
Yeah, but, can we have the solution for the cable joints, straight through joints? Can this solution will be applicable for the cable joints?
Straight through joints, actually, see, if you say whether it will work, I will say yes. But it will be better if you do with the RTD PT100 sensors. It will be much more easier or more economical to do it.
Sir, chat not enabled. Would you please?
You couldn't understand?
Chat not enabled.
Sir, I could not understand the question.
You will have to unmute.
A chat is disabled.
Disabled.
Chat. If somebody wants to send a question, chat is not it's not possible to send a chat.
Okay.
No, Mr. Rao, I'll give you the mail ID of Mr. Khan. You can write to him. Okay, I'll help you out. Don't worry.
Are you able to, Miss, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
give-
Anyway, I think everybody may have joined already. So I'm going to share the recording and the technical data of this particular presentation on email anyway with everyone. But then also, like if you want further, we can discuss. About the
Thank you.
straight through joint, sir, it will be better if you talk offline, because this solution may work depending on the condition where what is the location of the joint and how it is being placed. So we'll have to see in the environment where it is placed actually. So if it is an enclosed environment with a proper IP protection, we can use this technology. Otherwise, it will not be possible. The only condition for using this technology is that you should not have forced ventilation.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any further questions?
Yeah, Mr. Prakash Nair has some question.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
you
sir.
can go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mubarak Khan, for the nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Extending a further question to the Sandeep's question, Sandeep sir's question, that he was asking about some application of this tags, what you had mentioned, color tags. I am further asking about is that in large motors, for the protection of this hotspots in the motor, there is a thermistor used, which is used for the protection of the motor against hotspot and the rise in temperature. Whether this your tag can replace those thermistor protection, or how do we compare with it?
It will not work, sir. That is a different application. This technology cannot be used there.
Okay. Thanks. One more, sir. One more question.
I'll tell you now. Let me share on in what ways firepress can be used in a motor. Okay, there are two things. One is you can use the visual fire prevention thermolabel stickers on the surface of the motor. So if the motor gets overheated, somebody by having a normal common look, he'll be able to identify whether the motor is getting heated or not. Secondly, you can use the firepress in the motor terminal blocks. So if there is a loose connection at that motor terminal block, you will get an alert remotely. Or if you use visual stickers, when you open the cover, you will be able to inspect it. These are the two ways in which you can use firepress in the motors, otherwise not.
Got it. Very clear. I was thinking about the thermistor. Now, second question is that I am connected with the process industries, so many process industries, wherein a large contract load is involved, and so many PCCs and so many MCCs are there. In that case, suppose if I go for firepress installation, I think it will involve a huge investment, huge money is made there. In that case, some process industries, they have their own fire protection insurance scheme, and in that insurance against fire, they pay a huge premium. By installing our technology, does it help in reducing the premiums of this fire protection policy, sir?
Sir, so far we have not any tie-up or approval from any insurance companies for using this technology as a firepress, because it is rather a new technology. I would request BASE to make a note of it and take a look at how we can get associated with some insurance companies where they can help in improving the insurance premiums.
Yeah, Mr. Ramprasad is a risk management and insurance professional with our AP chambers. He is the chairman also. I think he can just throw light for a minute.
Yeah.
Please.
Now, answering the question that has been raised, the earlier system of the Tariff Advisory Committee and fire extinguishing appliances extensions and discounts have been done away with totally. The present regime is operating on the basic system of a burning cost method on the insurance side, number one. Now, how this is going to help industry is most insurance companies are today insisting upon a risk inspection, and unless they are satisfied with the amount of safety measures taken, they are not willing to underwrite certain risks. Kapoor, when you go to the insurance company, at least it would help us to have a proper insurance program instead of the insurance company running away and saying, no, we will not insure it. To that extent, yes, this would be helpful. But in premium wise, I am a little doubtful. I don't think it will help.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Now.
hello.
Yes,
Hear
please.
me? Yeah, I just would like to add that we had a negotiation with Allianz insurance company. I guess everybody knows.
Allianz.
Allianz. Yeah,
Alliance.
exactly.
Alliance.
That,
Allianz.
yeah, Bayern Munich Stadium,
Yeah.
Allianz Arena. Yeah, and we had the discussion, and we together prepared a topic about the fire safety and why the thermal inspection is not always like the best option to do. This topic, we included the fire press as one of the example of alternative approach to control overheating and detect overheating in time. This article should be released in June, and I think for most of the insurance company, like Allianz is one of the best examples and one of the leaders, and that might help you to agree with the insurance companies in India. I mean the local ones, to put fire press in specs.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Wes. Thank you for sharing. So that means if we have Allianz, we can take it as an example, and we can discuss with other insurance companies. I think Mr. Ram Prasad sir will be a great help in this initiative.
Yeah, definitely. We can see how best to assist. No problem.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Mubarak.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I am Ramakrishna. Does your, I mean, it's a nice presentation with good products, but my question is, do you have a composite solution where the panels can be provided with, hello?
Sir, I would request you to please repeat your question because in between something got disconnected. I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations for a nice presentation.
Thank you very much.
It is a good informative session. Now, my question is, these panels, electrical panels, need gas-based flooding systems also,
yes,
as a part of the requirement by National Building Code 2016. I think you are aware of that.
Yes.
The main panel and the lift panels are to be necessarily be provided with CO2 based or inert gas based flooding systems.
Okay, sir.
Now you are looking at more from a monitoring angle.
Yes, sir.
Do you also provide the gas based flooding systems also, so that the total solution of monitoring as well as fire suppression can be addressed as a single agency?
Sir, so far we don't have a CO2 flooding system in our product basket. But if we do some, like if our headquarters, streamer headquarters, if they start manufacturing or they do some tie-up with some companies, or we do it locally, we'll keep you informed, sir. As of now, we don't have.
Okay, thank you.
Base, do we have anything internationally?
Hello?
No, the local partners can definitely help. And apart from providing these systems of streamer, the flooding systems also appropriately can be installed.
Yeah.
I think that will be more appropriate.
Mubarak, one more question I wanted to ask is, see, because this solution mostly feels suited for the very high current panels, like generally MCC and MCB panels. But see, there are other panels like control panels as well as the data center towers which are there. And in those kind of solutions, also there is a increase in temperatures which needs to be monitored. So can have you, I mean, provided you or maybe Timir sir or anybody can answer also this, have done such kind of things, extended this solution into the control panel environment or in the data center environments? Or any international, suppose any such case studies, if you as a streamer would have done, is there any kind of a reference? because you mentioned particularly that under the forced, that's what I mean. The others are also asked is the forced pressurized panel situations, which is there. So in most of this kind of control panels, as well as in the data centers, basically the artificial cooling or the ACs generally are have the systems, and the panels themselves have their ACs on board fitted onto that things. So in that kind of a situation, will this solution also work?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for asking this question. As mentioned earlier, like if there is a forced ventilation, a remote fire prevention system cannot be used. But yes, we can use the visual fire prevention system where we can install the VFPT stickers on the joints and on the surfaces which we want to monitor, and they can do a 24/7 monitoring. And but the only when the maintenance staff goes and inspects physically, they will be able to identify the abnormality. And secondly, if there are some surfaces or places where we don't have live terminals, like some body or like straight through joint, somebody asked a question sometime back. So in this case, they can, these home technical solutions have developed one solution through sensor based, maybe. They can discuss if possible, you can do a small integration of that, and that is also possible. But mostly streamer doesn't have a solution in which they can use a remote monitoring in a force ventilated panel.
Okay, okay, fine. Thank you.
And Mubarak ji.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Sundar sir, boliye.
See, this is the question regarding Mr. Ramakrishna asked for fire suppression. See, the 5% is going to be the 5% rather than fire prevention. Even before any fire accident can happen, this system is going to alert possible reason for fire accident. So, when such a case is there, do we require fire suppression also in the panel?
Okay, good question, Sundarajan sir, good question. Now, I will tell you just what Sundarajan sir asked is, if you use fire press, you are going to avoid any fire scenario. So, do you need fire suppression system also? I will say yes, we need, because overheating of joints and burning of the joints is not the only reason of fire in an electrical panel. There can be fire for various reasons. So that is why we cannot simply say that by using fire press, we eliminate all the causes. Base will can add in this one if he has something to share.
Yeah, just I think I don't know what exactly the situation with extinguishing systems in India, but in most of countries it's like mandatory to use because of national electrical code or standards. So it's yeah, definitely. I think you need to use the extinguishing systems just because it's listed in the standard.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
It will be, Mubarakji, I just want to add something like even Indian standards also, I mean, CEA will not agree to not to have such a system. You know, they would insist to have such protections even after we install fire press.
Yes, sir.
Because same thing, even you know, we see even with ester oil based transformers also, still fire suppression is not being removed, though IC says. Okay.
Good points. Good point.
So it will be very difficult. I mean, logically also still this solution, this protection is required.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions, sir?
Okay, we are running out of time, I think.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello, sir. Sir,
Yes,
this
sir.
is Senthil here.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
you have informed that 3 different temperatures, na, sir, 50, 60, 70, and 100.
Yes, yes, yes.
Suppose consider it is not continuous cycle. Okay. Suppose one time it has reached 50 or it has crossed 60, then the load is shut off. Then what will be the case? And next time if it is on, what will be the case of that indicator?
Okay. So the dots, pre-indication dots, which are changing its color at 50, 70, and 90. So this is an irreversible change. And it is very important that it should be irreversible, because if it is not irreversible, when the load is off, the color of the joint will again become normal and nobody will know that it changed its color sometime back. So
But
that is
anyhow, will be having a continuous monitoring system, no, sir?
continuous monitoring will be at a particular temperature, it will give you an alert. But what is the change in the temperature over a period of time, nobody will know. It is only through the visual indication that if you switch off the panel and open it, then if the temperature has already reached 90, you know that I have not got an alarm at 100, but the operating temperature of the joint has already reached 90. So that is again an abnormal condition, right? Or if we have seven stickers, all the stickers have maximum temperature of 50 and one of them is having 70, that means there is some abnormal in that sticker, in that joint.
Okay.
Inspection. And if there is abnormality at 100, definitely you will get an alarm.
And suppose if it is a continuous load now, sir, suppose one loose connection has happened, how fast that will increase any? Because what happens if it is a continuous load, suddenly it starts 50, 60, 100 if it goes like that.
Okay, at a continuous load, let us assume that the load current is 100 amperes. Okay, at 100 amperes, if your cables are designed to withstand around 120 amperes and the joints are initially designed for 100 amperes only, easily. So at that time, nothing will happen. All the temperatures will be in the normal range. But if the load increases a little bit and it crosses the capacity of the joint may start to heat, to dissipate the extra energy which it is witnessing because of the loose connection. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Ramprasad.
Yeah.
Would you just propose the vote of thanks?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. It's a very pleasant duty to propose a vote of thanks. Overall, a very excellent presentation by Mr. Mubarak Khan, country head, and Mr. Bias, as well as Mr. Doshi, valuable inputs from your side. Thank you very much for taking the time and spending the time with us. I would like to thank our sponsors of the day, GSHP, ISRE, and AP Chamber for all the support and encouragement given. And most importantly, we will have to thank our partners who have helped us to go through this event today. Mr. Sunrise HVAC, Aeroflex, Lakshya, Biocon, Hitech, ABS, Omega, and the other partners. Thank you very much once again. Thank you, everybody. Wonderful participation by the audience. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Take care. Bye.
Thanks to Prakash, our back-end team of Chambers.
Yes, it goes Prakash and company from AP Chamber is invariably a part of the family. Therefore, we forget to thank them.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
everyone.
Baba.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.